like as we said this whole entire video, I think there's major opportunity here. For look, with opportunity is risk too. And again, with the volatility that you have in this space, there's no saying that you couldn't lose half of that in a year or 6 months, and then it rebounded 120, 500%. There's no way to tell that. But understanding what you said, that is a finite asset. Okay, we're talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about a finite asset. And I believe its adoption is going to get much, much larger. Its market cap is going to, who knows where it can.
While the price of Bitcoin has remained stagnant compared to the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, it still remains a viable asset that has drawn the interest of not only retail investors, but now institutional investors. The largest of these institutional investors is BlackRock, which is awaiting for the SEC to approve its Bitcoin ETF. Gregory Mannarino, founder of TradersChoice.net, expresses that Bitcoin has tremendous upside and that buying at these prices should be an interest to any investor that wants to diversify and preserve wealth for generations. While the price of Bitcoin is low, Mannarino cautions those who do not do well with volatility, as the crypto market can have very large swings up and down. Now let's watch excerpts from Gregory Mannarino's interview with SatPulse. Before we start, smash that subscribe button and remember to enable post notifications to stay updated on our latest uploads. Thank you and enjoy.
I think my take is pretty straightforward on this. I think it's a fantastic opportunity. I really do. When Bitcoin hit 17,000, 17,500, I almost, I told everyone on my channel, I said, this is a great opportunity to buy more of this stuff. And I think the upside here is absolutely tremendous. Honestly, I just look at when I think about the markets, I always kind of say, okay, where's the most likely place cash is going to move in the future? And I sincerely believe this. Again, the environment we are in is out of control with global debt where it is, and it's going much, much higher here. Central banks are going to continue to inflate. This debt bubble is going to burst. And then once it eventually does, how does that affect the flow of cash through the markets? Where is it most likely to go? We know it's going to bleed out of the debt market like a tsunami. We know it's going to put a lot of pressure on global equity markets, and then this cash is just going to look for places to go. In my opinion, I've been telling people this for over a decade. I think it's going to go into precious metals and cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, obviously. So, that's the place. And I tell you something else why I think it's an even better opportunity right now than I think most people realize. We've seen the market cap of cryptocurrencies like really take a hit. So with that, seeing the entire space kind of shrink down, look, I'm always a guy who says, okay, when people are on one side of the trade, I want to be on the opposite. I've always been like this. So when you see an opportunity like that, where the whole market cap has really, compacted, I mean, look, it's got nowhere to go but bigger in my view. But again, look, I don't want to push people into anything that they don't understand. That's the truth. I always tell everybody on my channel, never put a single dime to work in anything unless you fully understand it. I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't understand the crypto space at all, or Bitcoin or whatever. And I get it. If you look at, let's say, Bitcoin, we were talking about it just pre-interview here, it hasn't been around that long, or the crypto space. It's a newer asset class. It takes a while. It even took me a long time to turn around and try to get my head around it as well. Some people operate a little faster than others. I'm kind of really old school. So it took me a while to get my head around it and try to understand what's going on here. And I just said, this seems like opportunity. And people get upset, and I don't understand this. Really, I don't. About the name, about what something is actually called. I don't understand that. Personally, I think we can both agree that looking at the crypto space, or Bitcoin in particular, as we're talking about it, people don't use it as a currency. They use it almost like gold or silver. They're holding it. They're buying and holding. They're buying and holding. So, the name to me is irrelevant. Whatever you want to, or the class is irrelevant. Just think of it as an asset class. Again, that I think that people want to hold, at least because they understand why they're holding it. Again, debt market meltdown, for me, pressure on the stock market, cash just moving into other. Cash doesn't fly away to money heaven. Most people think it does. It doesn't. What people need to understand, especially if they're new to the crypto space, and I know that's not you, is extreme volatility here. Okay. And that's why it's not for everyone. You got to be willing to sit back and say this thing could swing by 50% in either direction in a very short period of time. A lot of people can't handle that. They expect to buy asset XYZ. It's going to float around in a relatively tight range. But that's not the deal with the crypto space. And I really believe that the reason for that is, again, it's a newer asset class. It's going to take another decade or two or longer for it to really establish itself. So with that said, where is the top? Who freaking knows? Because again, I think, and for me, again, I'm a simple guy, just understanding where cash is likely to move, being that the debt market is the hyper bubble of all time. And that hyper bubble in the debt market, which is going to get substantially worse moving forward, is going to burst. And that's just going to melt down global stock markets. Cash is going to move. Cash is going to move. It's a simple concept. I mean, people watch the stock market today with an economy on a global level, which is cratering. Meanwhile, it keeps going up and up and up and up and up. You got central banks buying it all. Period. The end. That's what's going on. So that's what people expect. They look at the stock market. It's going up, and I don't understand cryptocurrency, so I'm gonna avoid it altogether. And that's okay. That's okay too. It's not for everyone, like we're speaking about here. It's a very volatile space. It's hard to get your head around for a lot of people. They don't understand it. And that makes people fearful. And when people are fearful, they lash. I used to tell people that at one point, the market cap of Bitcoin was as big as, let's say, one Dow component at that point here, one component of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Yeah. And I believe, we're just talking about one. So, could it go to 5 times, to 10 times? Without any doubt, it absolutely could. But again, you got to deal with the volatility. You got to be able to understand the space here. I'm not telling anyone that they should take 10,000 and throw that in anything, even silver, without understanding why. You don't just act like a drone. Do your research, figure out why you're doing, know why you're doing something. Not just you're doing it because you think it's fun or whatever it might be. You're doing it because you understand why. If you don't understand why, then don't do nothing. But the last thing you want to be in my view, with that 10 grand is to stay in the dollar. Okay, you got to do something else with it, because the dollar is a dying asset, period. Anyone, whoever doesn't agree with that, well, I think they got to reevaluate their situation.